That is.
My father-in-law always called me half-ass Green.
I like that.
8,000 up here.
He was in Airedale.
No,
I did. I know they were gonna do it, but- Yeah. So this is my column. This is their column. That's the water fund.
I have a brother-in-law, he spent 26 years in the Air Force. He got tired of being around people, so he's been driving truck for the last 10 years.
I went.
Driving truck. Oh, I was telling him the main reason he's driving truck is to stay away from
Ice road trucker.
Huh?
Ice road trucker.
Yeah.
Checked out. Then I pulled every state deposit.
But I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I walked in there. It was all mixed in.
Compared it to that. And it was just larger than what I wrote.
209,000?
205.
That's wastewater grant.
It's a grant.
Mhm.
Why isn't it listed anywhere?
Because it went straight to another bank for loan account. It was never in our actual finance. We have a revolving loan for it.
Okay, it is 6 o'clock. It got here fast. We're going to open the meeting. I have already asked Commissioner Hope if he would pray for us, and he did agree to it. So I'm ready when he's ready.
For those who would like to participate, would you please stand and bow your heads? Dear gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for your presence this evening. Please provide us the wisdom, the civility to listen, discern those items before us in the discussions with our community and staff. It is with your grace we ask for this. It is with your grace we are provided the freedom to be here. In your heavenly name we pray, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you to both of you. Adoption of agenda.
So moved, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Hope and a second by Commissioner White, I believe. Hold on. I didn't get a pen. Hold on a minute. Oh, I got it now. Thank you. Any commissioner discussion? Any public discussion on the motion? All right, well, let's go to a vote. All in favor of the motion on the floor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed likewise. Motion carries 5-0. All right, fiscal year 2024-2025 budget discussion.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I asked for help from somebody that I felt like was experienced and qualified, and she's going to be speaking on behalf of the citizens. So I'm asking the commission, when she does get up to speak, to give her some leeway and allow her time. Karen Fiore.
And what are you asking for me to give her more than 3 minutes? Is that what you're asking?
Yes, ma'am, give her the time she needs, which would be about 10 minutes, 15, somewhere along in there. Yeah. and she is gonna be speaking on behalf of a lot of citizens. So,
Okay,
Madam Mayor, this is a workshop. This
Yeah.
is not a formal meeting, and so, my opinion is the citizens' input is important, as well as ours. So, it's not the formality of a 3-minute comment. I just think that if there's citizen comments or opinions or opportunities for their input, it's very important in these workshops. So I'd like to open it up for any discussion of items that are coming up. Expand on Commissioner White's request.
make a motion, I'll second it.
did we vote on the other motion?
It's a motion as a standard for the workshop.
Did I second it?
Hold on, let's go back.
That's the only motion on the floor.
Yeah, so, Commissioner Hope, again, it was your motion.
Yes, ma'am, just.
What's your motion?
My motion is to open any discussion with any items in this workshop, to include the citizens and their rebuttal, their additional comments as we discuss items.
And Commissioner White was,
And to
You
forego-
second
And
it.
to forego the 3 minutes,
Yes.
second it, yes.
thank you. Any commissioners' discussion on the motion? None? Public discussion on the motion.
I just want to say thank you.
All right, no further discussion. Let us go to a vote. All in favor of the motion on the floor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed likewise. All right, motion carries 5-0. All right, so, commissioners, what do you have, or what? Who wants to start?
Like in. I have a couple, several, but on page 2, the revenue. My understanding is we got an email, or I got a copy of an email that was sent to you, the mayor, stating that the anticipated ad valorem proposed tax for Archer was $550,000, which this is way off.
Okay.
So that's,
The first thing.
that's the first thing, and Cindy may want to address them as I get to them.
Cindy,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh.
So, you have to, I didn't get that email. I can only go what's based on our trim.
You didn't get the email, you saw it though?
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
It's what was sent to me today,
About the 500 and something,
$550,000.
it was 55 million.
Million?
And that's not our ad valorem. That's our proposed for all of the city, including
that's true.
everything.
Okay,
That's not all that we get.
that's not all that we get?
No. That even takes all the city properties out as well.
Okay. So, 300, okay, I'm totally,
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think she's confused about what you're saying. Could you rephrase? I'm sorry.
So that's the proposed worth of every building property in the city of Archer. Am I correct?
Yeah, it's it's the first, property appraiser evaluation of your property.
And that's not just our personal property, that's your property, anybody that lives in the city of Archer. So when you take out the city's properties out of it, it lowers it drastically.
drastically? 5 million and a half?
We've never gotten 5 million in ad
I'm just saying,
valorem.
I'm going by what you're saying and by what she's saying.
You take the 55 million, you subtract out the new construction, you take that number, you multiply it by your ad valorem tax.
You need to come up to,
And then you divide it by 1,000, and that will be what you could potentially collect
Correct.
as a city
You're correct.
prior to your. when-
is that how you calculated it?
No, I take the trim notice and do it.
Okay. All right, I'm going down to Laurel Hill Cemetery,
Mm-hmm.
and you've got us anticipated at 20,000.
What item is that?
That is 001-341-900, 910. And you've got 20,000.
Correct.
So you think we're gonna sell 20 lots?
Well, we
All
sold
our
14
sold
last
people
year,
die?
so, and we sold 10 so far this year.
Okay.
We used to not, put in 2 or 3. I think that we pushed to put 3,000 in.
Yeah,
but
that's
then
when we
we
sold
went
lots,
14.
not plots. Yeah.
It was just lots.
That 20 looks like an awful lot to me, but okay. Okay.
What looks like an awful lot, the cemetery went to 20,000?
Cemetery.
But how many you sell?
That's 20 lots.
No, how many did you sell this year already?
This year, we've already sold 10.
Okay.
The year prior, we sold 14.
And, each lot is $1,000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I can count how many funerals I done went to just this year alone. And, yeah.
I mean, I
In
I
could
went
see
to
it.
2 this weekend.
In Archer?
Yeah, well, not in
Wow.
Archer.
But
I had
we're from Archer.
People die in Archer like they die everywhere else.
They do, because I heard
Yes.
about 3 just on Saturday that died right around here. But
And the
We
one,
usually don't have that many, we don't sell that many lots, but okay, I'll go with that.
I mean, I can lower it to 15 if you like, or
Well,
go a lower period, whichever you want.
I'm good, leave it like that.
How many
Now-
plots are in a lot? Are there
Just one now.
plots in a
One now.
lot?
We only can sell
One
one.
plot? So
Yes.
like one grave per lot, per $1,000.
I bought my plot with 8 graves for $250, I think.
$250?
that was some years ago.
About
Long time ago.
20, yeah.
come to
No,
say
they don't go
something,
like that no more.
$1,000 if you're not a member.
Okay, down to the dog park contributions. I know we just got something not long ago where the dog park had a lot of contributions, a lot. And nowhere on here is it.
That was 2 years ago.
Okay, well, it's not on here.
No.
And that was the question I was gonna ask you. 20 and 24 are not yet done?
What do you mean?
I mean, they're not on here, so I'm assuming they're not done. 23 and 24, last year and the year before, I guess.
No, it's, the current year right now is 24,
You mean
Okay.
22?
and 23 was
22 and
last year.
23.
And 20, okay.
They're not on here because I didn't have time to correct it from Edmonds, no. And while you're thinking about that, and I'll explain, this is what I whittled it down from. This is the worksheet from Edmonds. Every line item that's ever been put in QuickBooks, plus they doubled it. This is what's in, when you print out Edmonds, and then I have to shrink it down to what you have right now.
And I'm understanding you're not getting any help from them.
You have to fight for it.
You have to do what?
You have to fight with them to get any help.
Then we need to be fighting with.
Hey,
I agree.
They're totally worthless.
where's
Well-
our attorney?
We went on your recommendation, so.
I don't know what page it is because I don't have an agenda printed out for me.
For what?
For the revenue summary, I just gave you a piece
Page
of it. So, water fund revenue is not right. As I said, you can't have negatives. Well, we have negatives and we have none for a few months. That's why I know that number is not correct. But on the other pages, you can see we're getting stuff for those months. It's just nothing to do with water fund. So, or I should say, with utility billing, let me rephrase that. It's what you pay for your garbage, your tax, and your water. Those three things are not correct in here. I don't know why, they can't answer it, and they have not attempted to answer it.
Then I think that's for Tony and the attorney, because
I
we've
agree.
got a contract with them that says that they will.
Tony, where's
And,
the attorney? They decided did either one of them speak to you?
We asked them to strap it in, and they weren't coming.
Okay. Because it's a workshop?
so, I'm trying to figure out then how we're supposed to do a budget without any former, previous year's actuals, and if the numbers aren't coming up correctly.
I agree. It's complicated.
Then I don't know how we're gonna do a budget, because I don't know what I'm working with.
Well, there's always the rule that you can revert to last year's. If you don't want to judge and you don't want to vote on it, it just reverts to what was voted on last year.
I'm not even.
And if that's a possibility, then I can't
That's not,
create numbers that don't exist right at the moment.
that's not possible either, because it's not done.
But you voted and signed off on the budget for last year,
When did we do that?
this time last year.
Had to be last year. We need that copy, because I didn't bring it.
That's the extension, that was the extension that we asked for, and then we had a special meeting to approve the
Okay.
budget.
So then 23 is actual. It's done.
No, not completely.
Okay. So
What
23,
you
24
proposed, yes.
fiscal year. Is that what you're saying? It's not
23.
completed?
I'm still putting things in for 23. I'm in the middle of an audit.
Okay.
So it's not completed, no. And has it been finalized? No.
Then we accepted and approved an unfinished audit. I mean,
I
an
think you're
unfinished
confused.
budget.
You don't ever, a budget is pre. So we weren't in the year,
Right,
you approved a budget,
last year.
a proposed, an anticipated budget, not
Exactly.
an actual.
That should have had amendments done to it for us to accept.
I think you're confused again. You're talking about actual and proposed.
I am. I'm talking about an
You
actual.
approved the proposed,
That y'all are
yes.
saying that we accepted last year.
No. The budget, you accepted the budget,
That's what I'm saying.
not the
And-
final. There's a
Why would we
difference.
accept it if it wasn't final? Why would we accept it?
I'm
I
confused.
mean, I'm confused too, and I'm trying to get,
Your actual, there have not been, because we're in the middle of the audit. I can't finalize it till the audit. And that's what we're working on right now. As far as the budget, that would just go into effect if you choose not to do it, is what you voted on
The proposed.
The proposed.
Last year.
for 2023. The anticipated.
Proposed last year in September.
okay, what did we finalize then? What was the last budget that was final?
Has been completed,
Yes.
22, 23.
Okay. So to do the budget for this year, we've got to go back to that and compare.
Okay.
I'm just asking, because if 23 is not finalized, and we're working on 24, 25, then to compare, I've got to go to 22 for actual.
It'd be really hard to compare going back that far
Yeah,
when
I
prices have changed so much. So, with that said, I'll show you something else.
Fiscal year is when?
We're currently in 24.
24, 25. This, we're currently in
20,
I've provided the last 3 years, and you can pass it around, of FMI. We started out with, it was like 76,000, I just gave it to Mr. Hope, for our FMIT, for our insurance, and we've now 2025 is proposed to be 108,000. It's a $31,000 jump in the last 2 years. That's a big jump, but that's not the only jump. Everything is jumping, as you know with your own bills. So it's kind of hard to do that far back.
Madam Vice Mayor, because the mayor stepped out, just to clarify, when we talk a single year, it's never a single physical year because we start on October 1st and we finish on September 30th. So our current actual physical year is 23-24 that we're in and will not finish until September 30th, 2024. The budget workshop that we're sitting here to start discussing and comparing will be for 24-25, which will start October 1st, 2024 and end on September 30th of 2025. So, and I'm just speaking for Commissioner Green because she was asking me and I didn't want to act like it wasn't important.
I thought that's what it
And it may be a simple elementary thing for everybody to already understand, but, so what Cindy's saying is even though it's going back 2 years, if we have not finished an actual for 22-23 until the audit is complete, is that correct? Is what you're saying?
Same thing.
I think I'm confused now. No, 22-23 is done.
Okay, that's the one,
Yes.
as Commissioner White is saying, that we
20
need to compare as a baseline, because 23, 24.
Prices are going to be drastically different is what I was saying.
Absolutely, and that's why there's a notation, I think, column or whatever,
Right.
and what we would need
Each one.
to discuss, if there are things like what you just presented as the piece of information.
I mean, I can give you that. To put it in this, what Edmunds transferred over is inaccurate, so I couldn't
I don't
complete
want
that.
I mean, my opinion, I don't want inaccurate numbers, but I want a workshop discussion of.
In a
the
day and a half, all I had was a day and a half to put this together, out
And
of
I
two
appreciate you
systems.
putting a balance number on the bottom and,
And I apologize for the incorrectness. Mine was correct. I checked mine and printed out another one. I didn't realize when I added in the headings, it was doubling all the figures at the bottom. When I realized it this morning, I corrected it.
And I understand what you're saying. I do understand what you're saying.
well, and I'm just clarifying for Commissioner Green, because she was sitting there, what year, I mean, we're
So
always in
20?
2 years to finish a physical year.
I know, that's what I said, and that's where I'm going is, I'm looking at, we're right now doing fiscal year 25, 24, 24, 25.
Is what we're gonna put a stamp on by the
Exactly.
deadline with extension for 24, 25 fiscal year.
All right, so,
And if I can just add in the finish. So Cindy, right now, when you have anticipated, that is our fiscal year 23, 24 that you anticipate?
Anticipated is for 25.
It is your projection for the fiscal year that we're going to have to stamp approval on, 24, 25.
Well, this is the workshop, so no. That would be the next one you get. But this is right now, this is what we're working with until
But
there's
that,
other direction.
after the word type on these pages, the next anticipated,
That's, yes, that's the one.
that is 24, 25 is what you anticipate.
Yes.
What you're, looking at what you're having to transpose from Edmunds and
Correct.
double check or whatever, that's for us to look at for the fiscal year 24, 25.
okay.
And that's why there's the one notation of ad valorem tax note
Then the next
will be an
line,
additional, could be an additional 10%.
then the next line is 2024. And appropriated and.
Is that
actual.
actual to date instead of repeating 2024 and TIS? It should be actual to date, like year to date?
So the one after note is anticipated. That's the budget you approved last year at this time.
It's the one that we turned in by
Correct.
the deadline, so that is 23, 24 fiscal year
Correct.
budget that we approved.
So
Marjorie, I'm not trying to be elementary, I just wanna make sure everybody's
I wanna be
singing on the same
elementary,
hymn page here. Okay,
So 2023 actual would be 22-23.
Correct.
Yes.
Which
Okay.
is currently being audited,
Okay. Currently,
currently.
yes,
We're
yes,
currently in 23,
yes.
24.
okay, and then the next line item says 2024 actual.
Yes.
Is that fiscal year 22-23 actual? Before the audit is complete?
It's 2024 actual is 2023-24, the current year. It's right now.
It's the year-to-date, fiscal year 23-24. I'm sorry, I'm just used to seeing YTD, so it's
I know, and
year-to-date.
Edmonds already puts that heading on there, you can't change it.
Right, so it's year-to-date 23-24 is that column at the top that says 2024 actual.
It's our current right now.
It's year-to-date through July 31st, or probably, or
It's
June?
current, no, I did, the revenue, it's updated,
Okay, I mean to current.
except for the water.
August.
Mhm.
Okay,
And on the second page, the blue, because in Edmonds, it doesn't differentiate between water and general fund, the blue is water fund stuff. That's why I just did it that way, so you would know the difference, because they group everything together.
okay, I'm sorry, stay with me, I'm on page 2 at the top. Next to the last column, it
I think it's
says,
page 3.
maybe I'm looking at the wrong sheet.
No,
you're
it's
right.
page 3. You're right, but it's page 3, which is about the blue.
Oh, yeah, the blue, I'm
Okay,
beyond
you're
that.
still on
I'm
that.
still on page
Okay.
2. The next to the last column, it says 2023 anticipated. That is your projection for 2023-24 through September 30th of 2020?
No, you confused it. 23-24 is current. That's what we're in right now. And that's 24 anticipated and 24 actual. 23 anticipated and 23 actual is for last year, the one that's currently being audited. So it's,
So
Year
the 2023
22,
anticipated is the fiscal year 2023-24 budget that was turned in and approved by us?
say that one more time. No, it's 22-23. 23 anticipated and 23 actual are for 4-year 22
Is for
and
fiscal
23.
year 2022 and fiscal year 2022-23. Those last two columns.
Correct.
Is the anticipated, which is the budget?
That's
for
what
that
you
year,
approved, yes.
And then the actual for fiscal year 22-23.
Is the last column.
Okay.
I think that's what I said.
So the next to the last column is the most accurate budget basis for us to look at.
Yeah, that's what I said, and it's not, she says it wasn't complete yet either.
It's in audit.
It's in audit.
I mean, I hear you loud and clear when you're saying that, because if they find something, then it has to be adjusted.
Well, when Edmonds
The
went to
budget
do the
shouldn't be.
switch in May of last year, June of last year, they undid all journal entries.
Edmonds did, when they were down.
So they could do their transfer, and it transferred completely. And in doing that, I have to recreate those journal entries. I know that sounds easy. It's not necessarily as easy, it's time consuming. So it just, that's what we're doing. And it's part of that's why we're not doing it. We're doing it together in the audit, is what I basically the rest of it put it. Because they just undid everything.
So the document that was turned into the county by state statute, do we have that before it was messed with by Edmonds?
What document? The trim notice?
Trim notice with our budget.
So Edmonds wouldn't have touched trim notice. I don't even do trim notice, Deanna does. So
And are those numbers these numbers?
they should be, yes.
They should be. And again, I'm not trying to push you against the wall. I'm
I don't know, I don't look at trim. I
Because I
just
hear
give,
loud and clear what Commissioner White is saying. We got, where's our budget that we approved? If this isn't it, the next, this column, I don't have a basis to compare and project what a budget should be this year until I look at what we anticipated. and we
Exactly,
approved.
thank you.
Okay, I'm just trying to facilitate. Okay. So how do we get that from our historical document? If Edmund hasn't messed with it and we have it on record.
so you want the year back?
What's that?
So you're wanting the previous year?
The budget that we approved for 22-23, or, more current, the budget that we approved by law the week after September 30th, because they gave us a 1-week extension. Where is that 23-24 budget with all these numbers?
Under 2024 anticipated.
Is it
That is
23
what-
anticipated or 24 anticipated? Because it's two different columns.
Last year, it would have been 24 anticipated. 23 would be,
22 anticipated, or no?
23. It would have been 20.
but I'm just going by what it's columned. So it's saying 2023 anticipated, which is the second from last column, is the one,
Is 23-24 and what we approved.
no, not 23, 20, it's 22, 23.
23.
And this is the one you approved, and that's what it would have been
And
based on.
these are those numbers.
As far as I know, didn't check it against, it was downloaded from the file. So I will admit, I did not have time to look at that now.
Did you?
Yes. These were the numbers that we presented at the original workshop.
Our last meeting that we had to approve the budget.
Yes.
These are those numbers.
These are those numbers.
Sorry to be a linguistic here, but
Me too.
and that's what Commissioner White is asking, and that next to the last column is our budget that we approved last year.
That's what was uploaded. I didn't check it now. I didn't have time.
But I am concerned, I'd like us to check that, and you
I will.
just give us another update, or, send it out, put it on the website with an amendment date, so that we're getting accurate numbers.
Okay.
Because
the one that was printed out right there should have it on there.
Commissioner White wants a copy, Deanna.
Isn't that what you got printed out right there?
Not if the numbers aren't the same.
Right there. That should have been the final. That was advertised and everything. And it would have been the current.
And that column should be the same.
It should be the same. It got pulled out of the same thing. So unless Edmonds did something else, I didn't change any of those numbers. And I haven't amended that year yet.
You haven't amended it yet?
Mm.
Walk till the,
Into the
budget.
audit. Mhm.
And how many years back there?
Usually at least a couple.
They had things come up in the middle of it and they had to leave, and we're having to do budget, so probably a couple more weeks. I think they're supposed to be here tomorrow.
Take at least 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the budget that we approved for 23-24.
I'm assuming. I'm not looking at it, but yes, I'm assuming
Well,
that.
it
That's what
says
you,
Tentative budget
That's fine.
fiscal year 2024.
What's the total on that, Commissioner White? Do they have a total at the bottom on that big spreadsheet that she's presented?
Hold on.
Okay.
Grand totals and, this is expenses. Now, this is the income would be 2024. Hold on. 23 is what I'm looking at, right?
I think so.
$1,128,748.74.
Say it again, please.
1 million, let me make sure I'm right, 2023 actual. 1,128,748.74.
Can I see which line you're looking at?
The bottom, grand total. I'll give you the grand total expenses in just a minute.
Which line is that up on?
23. And for the actual, expenses,
Anticipated, not actual. But I can tell you it's not the same.
in actual for 2023 was $1,449,343.01.
Okay.
And that like Holland would be on this smaller spreadsheet, $1,571,200. About $130,000,
$130,000.
between the middle, if that says 1,571,284.76. So just read off 1,000,000.
I'll look at it. I don't know where this losing transaction. It's probably having to do with something like this. I mean, like I said, this is what it really is. This is what it really looks like.
We need Edmonds here.
Good luck.
Because I don't know how we're supposed to do this without actual numbers.
I don't either.
I don't know how to do it either.
When was
Just the best we can do.
When was the last time you spoke with Edmonds? Edmonds.
They fixed something else for me last week, but it wasn't about this. It was about something else.
It was about what?
It was about something else. And
It wasn't on the budget.
mm-mm.
And they won't zoom in with you when you have.
They will, when they return my call. I think there's a limited amount of people that do the finance side of it. Now, the utility billing, you can usually get an answer pretty quick, within a week, on questions. I seem to wait anywhere from a week to 2 weeks for a question.
Well, I'm telling y'all something, that's ridiculous. We need to do something about our finances, because
I pull my hair out every day.
all right, I'm gonna go back down here through here with my questions, and maybe you can answer them, and then you can try something. On page 5, wait a minute, I gotta look. All right. I guess now I'm on page 3. And I'm looking at the my smaller sheet, and the numbers weren't right, so I guess that's been addressed. The commission salaries. You have 35,000.
What line?
What page, what line?
Page is 5. Line is 511-110. Did you get that, Deanna? It's commission salary. Okay, you have 35,117.15. We haven't had a raise. It should be 30,000, period.
Okay.
Well, we get, $500 a month. That's 6,000 a year.
You get more than 500 a month. You get $524 a month.
How much is 24 for?
It was a raise from a previous year.
We haven't got a raise. We haven't given ourselves a raise. You can't give us one. We have,
I'm just saying what that's
we
what
don't
I'm,
even get a cost of living.
okay.
It has to be done by,
I just know what it prints out.
well, printed out wrong, and if we got a raise, then,
Yeah, 'cause
It's
I
wrong.
don't remember seeing one.
huh?
I don't remember seeing the difference.
I see a difference each month,
I have.
but it's,
Gross salary month, our gross salary a month is 500.
That's
So 6,000 apiece times 5 is
It's
$30,000.
right, that's what we're talking about.
but Cindy is saying that it's more than that. If you look at your check, there is something else on it, and I thought it was our,
FRS.
It is.
see, that's what I
Pension.
thought.
And the
Okay, well,
contribution
FRS
that-
is someplace else on here, right?
You get paid the 3% back,
Online.
so it makes it more than the flat $500. It's 500. I believe if you look up the percentage, it's 524 or 5. I don't have it in front of me, but
But it wouldn't be under FRS in the budget somewhere?
no, that's what we pay FRS, and that's retirement. That's the third line below that.
Okay. Interesting.
So
City
that's this-
events and
That's included
donations.
in the city's contribution of 3%?
Your 3% is included in your paycheck. Our 3% includes in,
In the FRS line.
correct.
Okay. Because when I tell people what I make, I say $500 a month.
And then our FRS contribution comes out of that 500.
Well, I'm not,
And that was started before I just, when you went from 200 to 500, it just was the same. It was like 212 before.
And then it's matched by the city, which is the FRS retirement line.
how
That's
is
the way
it,
it should be,
is
but
it our contribution if I'm getting it? If
You
I'm-
pay it and
we
you take it.
contribute to it, and the city matches into that pension plan.
But if this is my contribution and I'm getting it,
You're not contributing.
I'm not contributing it. Do you see?
That-
It's
That's the way
coming
it was
from my
set up
paycheck
originally.
to me.
It was 3%. That's the way it was set up originally.
They added the additional 3% contribution to our salary in this document.
Okay. Well, let's go down, I'm going down to 511800, city events and donations. $15,000, what does that include? Because the only donations I can think about are the bicycles at Christmas, the $1,000 to JCC. What other donations? There's about that much money.
It's not a donations, it was just city events. When they did the update, it put it back on there. We had taken it off and added its own donations line, which is further down. But the 15 was city events. That was 4th of July, the bicycle, Christmas thing.
Christmas.
Okay.
Okay, so the actual in 2023 was $15,850.
Yes.
Okay. All right,
I see 850.95, but
yeah. Right. The city manager's salary, half and half. His salary is $108,000, isn't it? Well, half and half would be 54. I'm not good at math, but I do know that. So that one's wrong. Okay, there's the FRS that's Tony's. City Hall utilities, $10,000.
What is that line
It
item?
is down at near the bottom, 513430. That's like a $500 a month. Well, no, I guess it would be water and lights, wouldn't it?
It's water, lights, internet, multiple things.
Gotcha. Okay. The last one on that page is admin office, $16,000. Then what does that include?
Everything that office orders,
Employee dinners, lunches?
it would be included in that too.
What else? I mean, just,
Coffee, creamer, paper, anything, we do the same, the paper products, the toilet paper, all of that.
$16,000. Wow. And it's showing that 12,696 and 23. That's what I'm comparing it to. Okay.
Cindy, does that line item include the toilet paper and paper towel that are used in the parks, or you break that out?
I don't break it out.
But this is running the parks, all the restrooms in the city.
I don't break it down unless I'm buying fixtures like dispensers,
Something
things like that.
specific for the
Right.
park. But
because
otherwise, this
we
is-
don't order for one specific thing.
This is supplies to run all of our recreation parks.
Community center, everything.
Archer Community Center, the senior center. Okay.
Page 6, Commissioner White. Or you,
I'm still looking.
okay,
I'm sorry.
that's okay. I
Because
thought I heard pages turn, so.
that used to
Didn't
be,
know.
yeah, something, because it looks like 16,000 for here. Okay.
You want to suggest a different number?
When we start.
Okay.
But anyway, going down to, street salary.
What page, what line item?
Page, 6. And line item is 541120. I skipped.
Mm-hmm, you did.
Street salaries, 140,000. Who is on that?
Carlton and Justin are full. Calvin is half. Scott is full.
Calvin is half
Mm-hmm.
and Scott's. Okay, so it's 3 of them. Okay,
3.5.
right.
Who's the half?
Calvin.
Got
I'm going up the page under other general government service, and it's 519310. I apologize, y'all. Professional services, who is that?
Without having it in front of me, I'm fairly certain that that is part of our, like Kimley Horn for things that are not wastewater or street-related, other things we use.
That's a low number too.
That's North Central Florida.
No, I believe they're in planning.
Okay.
They're right above that in comprehensive planning.
Is the attorney in that?
No, they're in legal fees. Now, some of the attorney stuff is in that. Depending on what it is, when it's splitting it up for like real estate and such, it doesn't normally always go in the same spot. There's the retainer fee is pretty much what I put in the legal fees.
And since you brought up the comprehensive planning cost at 19,000, and in 23, the actual was 7,050, and in 24, 17,799. What did that include? Because we haven't done anything with our comp plan in a while.
Well, that is the Municode and North Central Florida Regional Planning.
So North Central Florida Regional Planning is not under memberships and,
Oh, no. No, we pay them a comprehensive fee every quarter too.
okay.
$17.50, I think, and 75 total.
Is the base fee. The Municode is another fee annually.
And every time you have anything changed.
Every time we amend our code, every time we record minutes that they put on, each one of those is a different charge to us.
That this may help Commissioner White in the the line item that's so high, the 17,000.
That's it.
$799.44. That was our visioning that we recruited them to perform and help us with that.
Okay.
That whole visioning and renewal of our comp plan and our vision plan that went on for about 6
That cost us $18,000?
No, that year,
Yeah.
it was an additional fee of not 17,000. What I'm saying, that's why it jumped that high. We included our visioning, the regular $7,500 that is the North Central Florida Planning annual cost, the Municode that is
Right.
3,000 something. So it was an additional 7,000 something dollars for that visioning
Okay.
program that they perform for us. Remember the,
Municode prices have gone up a lot more.
what's that?
Municode prices have gone up a lot more.
It was
It's more like 2,500 times every time they touch it, pretty much.
It was 3,500. Now it's gone up.
Well, it didn't used to be, there's a set fee, and then there's every time they touch it fee. So they have their yearly fee, and then every time they amend anything to it, it's more.
And those
It's an additional
fee
charge.
service for changing those codes.
Wow. Signal maintenance down on 541-340. We just, at the last meeting, went into an agreement for 6,500 on that.
Okay?
If that helps. Senior center, you put in some, I think.
I missed it by accident.
We had the new, so that was good. Garden club utilities, what utilities are at the garden club?
Well, there is a water meter, but it's been shut off, and there's supposed to be power there, but it has never been hooked up.
So that's the,
And that's
Right, we just leave it on there to keep it on there.
That's the little triangle. Someone last meeting asked, what is that? I think, Ms. Fiore, it might have been you or whatever. That is the little triangle here where they planted a Christmas tree. We approved getting a utility plug there because we don't have a downtown tree. And we put a water source
It's been there forever.
It's always
It's been there. Yeah, they just they never had it on because the
But
garden
that's the
club.
utilities that go to that little
Correct.
triangular that splits right here in front of us. Used to be run by the ladies club, the women's club, or the garden club. And that's why it got labeled that name.
page 8, I'm almost through,
You're fine.
The city manager's retirement that comes out of, it's half and half. $36,000 annually for his retirement. That's almost as much as all the employees put together.
Not even close. I pay over $10,000 a month for retirement.
Well, then,
And-
these numbers aren't right then.
Then what, well, I'm sure they're not. I didn't have time to do everything. I only had a day and a half again. But, because I'm not working out of this. I'm working out of QuickBooks. I'm trying to put everything in QuickBooks. So this is just what we started with, and that's whether y'all decide to go with this or not, and if we're gonna transition, it needs to be in this format.
numbers then for the employees is not right because I can't remember, I think Tony, city manager's 36, and I think employees was 44.
Okay.
41 or 44, I'm not even sure, I haven't counted. And out of the water fund salaries, Calvin's half,
Correct.
John is full,
Yes.
anyone else?
Steve? Steve?
Steve,
Half Tangi, half Cindy, half Deanna.
that's what I thought, okay.
So that's another 3.5, or say them again? I'm sorry.
So it's half Calvin, half Cindy, Tangi, and Deanna, and then full John, full Steve.
Oh,
Yeah.
like 4 maybe. Because it's like
It was,
like 4 halves, okay,
Just 4.5,
so it's 4, but
yeah,
okay.
What are the 3 halves again, so?
The 4 halves,
Half Tangy, half Deanna.
half Cindy and half Calvin.
And half mine.
You know, yours has its own line item, don't confuse everything. Yours has what says executive.
Oh, okay. Different line item.
So it's half Calvin, half Cindy, half Tangi, half Deanna, and
that
John
would
and
be their
Steve.
retirement also.
And full John.
Yes.
and full Steve.
What about, if we're not planning on the new community center this year?
I don't know what to plan.
Okay.
The only thing I've been told is that the 21, and I haven't even seen paperwork on that yet.
All right. I'm done for you.
And that will be an amendment when we get to it, because all of it is gonna be grant-wise.
That's what I thought, I hope.
I don't know when we did the last amendment was,
The year before.
I don't remember one, so.
Got any you want to ask about?
And then I asked Cindy a question. Cindy, you said you worked a day and a half to get this to this point. How much more time will it take to get the accuracy in what we need to look at? I know this is what we've got.
Other than the water, hopefully the water, I hope that the revenue will be corrected
Correct, okay.
by the next meeting, which I believe is the 16th. Is that right? 13th, 16th?
Yes, we're not going to include this discussion
In the 9th, correct.
So it'd be the 16th.
It should be, I should have time to do it by then.
I shouldn't be looking at you, I should look at Mr. Hammond. Mr. Hammond, is that what you anticipate, to have a more corrected document?
Yes, sir.
And it will be to us before then, so we'll be prepared to discuss it?
Yes, sir. And I'm gonna get with Danielle tomorrow, and we're gonna get on the phone with Edmonds. And I just asked Commissioner White if she would join us in that conversation. It's gonna be me, Danielle, Commissioner White, and Cindy. And talk with Edmonds and see what the heck's going on with their program. And if they can't get this thing fixed, then we're gonna go back to QuickBooks.
But it sounds like that's what Cindy's having to do to get accuracy in numbers.
It is.
Anyway.
It is. And
Is that
it's
whether you
ridiculous.
want to infer that it's cooking the books or it's waiting for the auditor? And I don't mean that in disrespect to you, Cindy, but you're having to transpose QuickBooks to get accuracy because Edmonds is just compounding numbers that have no value at all. That's what
Or,
I'm hearing.
or it's not, has no numbers for it.
Right.
They're ghost numbers.
They've just compiled everything from the beginning.
There were no numbers for water or utility billing at all
Right.
until March. Like they were ghost numbers. I couldn't have drawn anything from that period. Then they tried to fix it, and apparently the ones we looked at and went over together worked. After that, didn't work.
Okay.
we can't look at the water bills, you can't look at the bank statements,
I can.
and,
I could also look,
and I
but,
understand that takes time.
but it wouldn't be accurate either, because it's all grouped together. It would be tax, garbage, and water together. So I could look at each deposit from every, each deposit from Tangi, Deanna, me, whoever, and add those all up into a spreadsheet. That way, and yes, I could get accurate numbers, but again, that's time consuming. I mean, and I don't have a problem doing that. There's no way I could have done it in a day and a half.
Well, I'm just going on water billing right now, okay?
And that's what I'm talking about.
Okay, then maybe I'm confused, because Tangi pulls in what the people bring into. So on her computer, she ought to be able to, Edmonds ought to show her how to pull up what has been brought in and paid, what our billing is and what has been paid.
Yes, ma'am.
Now-
That's called a report, and that's the report I'm talking about, a deposit
Okay.
report.
Okay, that's the report. Now, the ACH that people pay with is not there, I'm sure.
We're all our utilities together. Tangi sees the same thing I see. Dan sees the same thing we
All
both see.
right, then you ought to be able to go to Tangi's computer then and pull it up. I mean, you're
You're wrong.
saying they see,
Yeah, no, so it's what it is, it's not grouping it under the line item. It's in there as a deposit, yes, but it's not giving a total. I even tried to pull up, and I can show you where I tried to pull up the expenditures and another report that they provided, and it's still saying the 116,000.
okay, but Tangi's won't show what she takes in for water billing, what she takes in for the community center. what she
Tangi, come out, please.
Please. And if it doesn't, could we ask them to help her?
I mean, it does, and that's what I'm trying to tell you. It's called a deposit report or a cash receivables report that she turns in with the cash or the checks or whatever. And it's a report. And yes, you just can't, but it's just for that day or that.
So, okay, so you have to have every one of them, and you have to input
Correct.
it. Thank you.
This is what I know. Just like Cindy said, I do my drawer every morning. I print out the report, what's taken, the checks, virtual terminal, cash. I put it in the bag, I print that out, and I give it to Cindy.
Okay.
Now, do I trust Edmonds stuff? Like when people call and say, my usage looks funny, this looks funny. No, I don't. Because it is a lot of jacked up stuff in Edmonds. But that's as far as I go with the finance. Like she said, I do my drawer, I count it. Sometimes I have to count checks 50 times because it's off a penny or two. Correct it, print out the report, and give her the report and the bag. So if there's a way to print out everything that I've taken in, I have yet to know how to do that.
So for the week and
I do mine
month or whatever.
daily.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So you don't know how to get to a report for.
No, because when Frank came and trained, that's what he said, that's all he said I had to do for the utility billing side was to make sure I do that and print out the report.
Wish y'all would be better off to go back to a pencil and piece of paper. wouldn't
Hello.
you?
Yes.
That's crazy.
So if there's, I'm pretty sure that there's a report in there somewhere to find what it is that you all are asking for. But how you find, I wish y'all could look at Edmonds.
I'm looking at this and I'm crazy.
So I really wish y'all could see, because when they presented that system, they made it look like everything was one click. But there is absolutely nothing in that system that's one click. Even the menu is ridiculous because they have all these menus across the top, and then you click this thing and it's another box, and then you go over to this box and over to that box.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure that there's a report in there somewhere.
Just don't know how to get to it.
But if y'all could come figure out how to find it, that would be awesome. So yeah, that's what we do. We do the drawer and do that every day.
I really think the question should be to Danielle, because I think she told us that we couldn't we could not reach the contract. We would have to pay the full amount anyway. But we're paying for nothing. I mean, when I can't make a budget that's due in September. And
Right.
did Deanna find out if we could extend it?
Do you know?
She talking about,
The budget?
yes, she, I think she got an estimate yet, yes, we will do it.
Okay.
I tell you what was weird. The other day when I was doing my report and my checks were off, kept looking and looking and looking, and they had the right check number, but they had it in there for like $120, was it, Cindy? But when I looked at the actual account of the person that paid, it was $51.50, just like the check was. But on the report, it said like 120 something. So how that happened, I don't know. So what I did was just go to the account, take the payment off, put it back on, and then it fixed it. One other time, I had a citizen who always pays by check. In the whole 6 years I've been here, she's never paid with a credit card, cash, or anything. I put her check in. My checks were off. I counted them like 10 times, and then I took it to Deanna, and I said, hey, would you look at this? Because I looked and I can't find where this issue is. Well, when she looked, she said, oh, I see, this right here says credit. Well, the check changed to a credit card. There's no way it could have changed from my desk, because when we take a payment with a card from our desk, it shows up as VT, which means virtual terminal. The only way you're going to see credit on that report is if somebody pays online and I import the payments into our system. Now that's almost a click of a couple of buttons. That's one of the easiest things to do. So I have to import those every morning from our city website. But there is absolutely no way that I could have put that in as credit when it was a check. No way I could have done that. When I called Edmonds for tech support, and I told the guy, this lady always pays with a check. She's never paid with a credit card. She's never paid with cash. She's strictly check. And I said, how could that change that like that? And you know what they said to me? Well, strange things do happen. That was not very comforting for me, because that means anything could change. You don't know how to tell me why.
That's what it
So,
sounds like.
so those are two really weird experiences I have had with Edmonds.
Thank you, Tangi.
One more question to Tangi or Cindy. Have y'all reached out to Willison? Are they having problems also?
I have no idea. But frankly, I do not care about Williston problems.
I just asked, did anybody reach out?
I have problems with Edmonds every day, so I haven't. I don't even know anybody in Williston.
They were looking to get it, but they
didn't
I
have
thought
it.
they changed. They got it.
I don't think they took
I don't think they took it
Edmonds,
either.
because I heard that Edmonds was really hostile, that we recommended that they not take them.
Yeah, they were.
So I don't think they took Edmonds.
I didn't
Okay.
recommend they didn't take them. I'm just saying that we really need to recommend that they quit.
I thought when they came, Edmonds came, they came
Well, we gave
here
them
and
a
they
bad
were-
review.
They're also new to Florida. There was only one other, and they didn't have the utility billing. They just had the financial, and that was Chiefland.
I hope y'all are documenting all your calls to them and when you're getting help and when you're not. Because I just don't believe this could be part of the contract. When we can't do a budget because of this, that's wrong.
When you call them, you can't get them.
Well, they usually call me back, like, and they used to be really quick when you called them, you could get a person. I do believe that I single-handedly made them start leaving a recording and they have to call you back. Because when I first used to call them, I used to call them every day, 2 or 3 times a day, and I could get a unit. Now when you call, they say, all of our technicians are busy. If you would like to submit a ticket, please leave your number, municipality.
Oh, boy.
So I have to do that. Now, sometimes they'll call back that day. Sometimes it'll be the next day. But at least in 3 days, they'll call me back.
But I'm gonna ask that y'all start documenting the calls. And that we know when they're answering calls, we know when they're helping, we know when y'all are having problems. Because I don't know.
Tell you what else, I noticed, I used to be able to email and I could get a quick response. Now the only way I can get a response from them is if I send an email and I CC Cindy, Deanna, and Mr. Hannon, and then I'll get a response back.
Now, if Tony were to send an email tomorrow, well, I'll have a response.
Yeah.
Well, there you go, Tony. Get on top of this. I'm telling you, how about if I send them one?
Good luck.
Y'all send me the email address, because I will tell them, look, I'm sitting here trying to do a budget, and I can't do a budget. Because apparently y'all aren't helping our account.
I'm not helping anybody.
Well, I don't mind.
Were you done?
Done.
Okay. Vice Mayor, you have any questions? While she's looking for that, Cindy, we get any donations like for recreation? And is that on there? Because I was looking for it.
We do. It's under, one second. Contributions, private sources. It's on the, I guess, your second page. And it's 001366000.
001, which one?
001366000. And it's contributions and private sources.
Oh, okay.
No, it's not. That's a lie.
So,
It's go to the next page. It's 366913.
okay. That's page 3.
It's right above the blue, like 2 above the blue. It says recreation, contribution, and other.
Right here.
Okay.
Did you find what you were looking for?
Most of that, I'm sorry, most of that comes with the, like the, what am I trying to say?
What's that
The
come-
All-Star games.
Oh.
When they have to get the money up to go to the All-Star game, and they get the contributions for that. And that number does look about right. But, the sponsors,
Or above that.
right. And those are gonna, yeah,
That's the banner expense, things like that, when you buy
now
a
the
banner.
sponsors are the ones that sponsor the teams. The banners should be separate.
Where the banner.
I had a
That's
couple,
considered a sponsorship.
I had a couple people asking about sponsoring teams, and I believe I gave them Scott and Tony's information.
Sponsoring the team is, getting their name on the back of the jersey. And, I think it's like $300, $350, something like that. But then, a banner, no, a banner doesn't come with that. Banners are separate, and that's what I said, I don't know where they would be on here, but, maybe fundraisers, I don't know.
Sponsors and bannership are typically put together for our stuff.
Well, he'll have one sponsor for each team. And, that averages about 4 teams, so whatever that comes to, okay. And then, all right, then what about where the kids pay their dues? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good.
That goes
That's what
into contribution other. And there is none in there right now because I haven't brought it over. It's actually in another area. It's on the
So-
sports sign up thing.
The kids' fees are part of contribution and other?
Yes. simply because we separated what was being donated or sponsored.
Okay.
So we had a clue what was going on.
So every time, well, the zeros most likely are where you haven't had a chance to put them, okay.
Because my question was, in reference to the codes and ordinance violations, which I see the 5,000. But my question is, how does that work when we done got this magistrate involved, and have we collected any more money since he's been on board?
I don't think we collected any.
Yeah, see,
I don't think we finished anything, really.
I thought that lady paid her big bill.
But that wasn't under the code, it was under her water bill, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just a water bill.
Okay, she didn't pay her fine.
Not yet.
No, not yet, and we were supposed to talk about that, but not this meeting, of course.
so where is his fee if,
That's in professional fees at the moment, but what you're referring to would be an expenditure, not a revenue.
okay. Because I just want to know, is it worth the expense if we're not getting any
I
revenue?
don't really think he's really charged us that much, because he only charges pretty much when he's here, or leading up to here.
I mean, it's much, but it's not.
It's much, but it's not much.
So, you know.
No, I'm just wondering,
No, but we need him. We need him because we need the things done.
I think he's only like thousands.
I think the last one I paid was like $900.
Yeah, I know.
You got any more?
No.
Commissioner Green?
Go back to the, admin office.
What page?
I'm sorry, page 5. And so that's for lunches, and like coffee, and creamers and
Everything,
stuff.
creamer, coffee,
Everything.
cleaners,
Napkins.
bathroom, stuff,
But
toilet
it's-
paper,
But
cleaners.
it's for all of the
Every-
buildings.
the 2 different
And,
parks,
Yeah,
the buildings.
here.
Like I said, the only time I differentiated is when I did like garbage cans and receptacle and picnic tables at Wilson Robinson Park. And when I had to buy all new things, certain things at the community center, that's, I'll expense it, but
You're talking about like the paper towels and stuff for that?
No, ma'am, I'm
What?
not-
Oh,
because we just buy them in a box and they take them if they need them. We don't use enough to warrant buying 6 boxes of that.
yeah, that's what I was thinking about, how much of that'll be using. So I'm thinking it's most of that towards the, paper and all that stuff, or is it on sponsoring lunches? I didn't know how many lunches we're having a
We've
month.
never done more than one a month, and it's usually everybody's birthday for that month.
Oh, okay, so the office pays for that, city, we pay for that.
And that was on suggestion of the commission at the time, was that it should be employee appreciation.
I'm a budgeter shopper.
But it doesn't,
It never said, we've never done it every month, though.
like she was saying, that 16,000 is not just that. However, because those would be some great lunches, and I would need to leave my job.
I
to
know.
come.
I'm just wondering about what would that average out monthly, you think,
What do you mean?
with all of that? What do you think about monthly?
Like for
what's
the
an average
16,000?
amount? Yeah, about what's an average amount to probably spend per month?
I'd say more,
Over 1,000, something
about
per month.
$12.50, yeah.
I believe I could shop a little cheaper for y'all than that.
Yeah, look. There's a lot included in that, and I
Yes, a
can,
lot included in there.
I was guessing,
Like 13.
13, yep. 1,300.
Yep, that's kind of steep. But
Do you just shop at one person, not person,
one
but
place.
place? Do you-
No, they don't.
we get some things from Sam's, we get some things from Uline, we get one set of paper towels because the dispenser came from a certain place and it hasn't broken yet. We get from Levy Jones. And we only get one thing of 6 rolls of paper towels every 3 or 4 months from them.
That's what I was gonna say.
yeah,
I thought we
so
had
you're not using that, huh?
somebody, I thought we had somebody we ordered from, and it was Levy Jones.
Yeah, but they're pretty high on things now. On some things they are, on some,
We still order from them.
because I just said, the dispenser here in the bathroom hasn't broken and we haven't replaced it, so there's no sense in replacing it until, it's like $35 every couple months.
Goes to
It's
$1,000
not,
a month.
So they just add a little more on there.
That's what, that was the other thing I was gonna ask when they get through. I got one more question.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
Oh.
You're up.
No, I'm good, I'm good.
You didn't have any more questions? That was all?
That's it for now, go ahead.
I could wait. On page 6, 519340, admin cleaning services.
okay.
Couple of questions about our cleaning person. Is she an employee or a contract?
She's an employee,
She is an
to be
employee.
covered under our insurance, yes.
Okay. Because I heard both.
I don't think that was Mr. Hammond's intention originally.
Okay.
She's part-time or full-time?
Temporary part-time.
She's part-time?
Temporary part-time.
Temporary part-time?
No benefits.
Okay, no benefits, okay,
And-
that's what I think, no benefits.
Temporary part-time. So she doesn't, how many hours a week does she get? Average.
10.
10
10?
between 3 buildings.
Right. But we supply all of her cleaning supplies, all of
Correct.
them,
Yes,
and pay her $30 an hour.
correct.
Yeah. I don't know who said that, but I agree.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's,
No, she said her name is something.
No, it's one, she gets $300 a week flat. She's on the, it's not a contract.
300 a week
So the 54,
for
the
10
amount
hours?
that here and cleaning, those are just the supplies.
No, that's her part of it. Admin cleaning had its own
Tell you, wait a
thing
minute.
at one point, and I didn't add it in, add it in.
You had another
Cindy.
question?
you said it's 300 flat a week,
Mm-hmm.
not $10 an hour?
It's 300 flat a week, she's only allowed 10 hours.
So what if she only puts in 7 hours?
If that's all she puts in, then she's only gonna get paid for 7.
Okay, that's what I'm asking, so it's not 300 flat, it's $10 an hour.
She's not allowed any more than that.
$30 an hour.
I mean, $30 an hour, yeah.
Mhm.
That's what I'm asking.
She was limited to $300 a week. At $30 an hour, it equals 10 hours.
Okay, but I just wanna make sure it's $10, $30 an hour, not,
I don't know if
That's the,
$300 for,
Do you keep a timesheet on her, Mr.
you
Hammond?
run into 3
Yes, sir, we do.
buildings and got to get them
yeah,
cleaned.
but they're supplying, they're supplying enough supplies, she ain't got all the supplies.
Where's all her taxes?
That's deep.
She doesn't actually, for the moment, that's a previous year, but we didn't have a cleaner that was in that part. This year we do when I brought it back. Her taxes, she doesn't have any taxes taken out because of her legal status and her green card.
are you kidding?
Yes. Because that's the proper way to do her.
I believe it is. They bring her green card and her legal status.
Oh.
Okay, let's move on.
You better.
Next question, come on.
I'm still on that one. $30 an hour, and we supply the cleaning products. So which three buildings? Is it this one?
Community center and the senior center.
And the senior center. And don't, when somebody rent out the senior center, aren't they cleaning up behind themselves?
Senior center's no longer rented out.
No, I mean the community center.
The community center, yes, they do, but there's still weekly things that need to be done over there. Sometimes it needs to be completely mopped. Other things need to be done. The bathrooms need to be scrubbed good. People don't scrub the bathrooms. They don't have the stuff with them to do that.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, they
They just
just
have to
keep the
leave it.
supply closet over there. I know when anytime I've ever rented, we usually mop behind ourselves, but.
But that's
why-
not
Like toilet bowl cleaner and things like that.
Oh, have to do
The
that.
toilet bowl cleaner and things like that, and they mop.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
understand.
Well, somewhere in
Okay,
here it's
I
got
understand
chamber
that one, but.
Say what now? Somewhere what?
I said, somewhere in here I saw chamber cleaning.
I see chambers
Yes,
maintenance.
it is in there somewhere.
Is it chamber maintenance or chamber?
I think it's maintenance, but I can't remember whether it's a maintenance or cleaning. And I can't remember where it was.
It's on the very first page of expenditures.
It's on the first page.
Of expenditures. I don't have mine.
Oh, I got you.
Which one are we looking at now?
Page 5, I'm looking for it.
Yeah, it's under
Under
maintenance.
legislative.
And that's the cleaning, is that included in that? The cleaning,
We split City Hall and chambers in half, yeah.
as far as cleaning?
No, I don't have it in there now. It's all in, I just put in admin cleaning,
Okay.
just so we knew it was broken down.
So the chamber maintenance does not include cleaning? Okay.
So may I ask what it includes, dear?
Some of it is the half, we pay Crystal our half and half for our maintenance, our contract we have. Other things that have, don't make me lie, I don't know offhand right at the moment.
That's good, it gave me an idea. Thank
I
you.
split it between here and there, so it's not hitting just one.
Okay.
Is IT maintenance in that line item?
No, it's all that one.
No.
It's online?
Yep, it's on page 6. 513320.
It's absolutely all by its little lonesome.
So Cindy, I don't have a problem with it decreasing. I like the fact that it's decreasing. But looking at this, are we sure that the 30,000 is what we're gonna need
For,
for the IT? Because I see, it looks like, it decreased.
we did,
going
and
down.
partially because we shouldn't continue to have equipment bought for any, like more camera, more, we added that to get the sound right for meetings here.
Right.
I'm hoping that it's where it needs to be. And that it's not gonna be a continual issue.
And Madam Mayor, if I could just interject here. The first workshop meeting, and there's no normality for Archer right now, but would normally be picking line items, as you just asked. Is that enough? I see it decreasing, that's good. But we've had discussions where we wanted to make both the Archer Community Center and the Chambers live for full
Correct.
meetings and not have to switch equipment back and forth. This is just the example I'm sharing. So with that said, what would be that line item
For
to
IT.
upgrade the Archer Community Center? We've talked about $15,000. So that's the kind of takeaway I feel the first workshop should share with you. My simplicity and elementary way of saying it is, it's our wish list. It's citizens coming forward, and I'm not gonna put Ms. Lopez on the spot, but she's my friend. It's like her saying, where is my sign? We've had discussions about a simple sign, but we've had full discussions about a marquee for the Archer Community Center. Last budget year, and I'm bringing up it again this year, you gave us a couple of estimates and we were in shock and awe, or you were, not speaking for you, but because that 15 or 16,000 marquee sign that we have up there is now upwards.
So hold on, Cindy, the signage, where is that on here? Because we did talk about doing signage for all of our buildings, is that here? Because if it is, where would that be?
Or is that in this fiscal year and it will be done?
More signage for.
The buildings, the parks?
So Maddox would be under Maddox maintenance.
Okay.
Wilson Robinson Park's already been done, and that's usually under the maintenance. As far as the community center, the sign, we were looking for a grant for it, and that's where we left it. And I haven't seen one
Yeah,
that
and
would
I'm-
fit for that yet.
I'm directing this to Mr. Hammond, Cindy. My question was,
Okay.
because that to me is the direction
Ms.
we should give
Lopez,
you, Mr.
please.
Hammond, as a takeaway, so you know how to adjust this when you and Cindy then tweak the numbers or come back with where you're gonna pull it from.
So you came up with multiple things, so let's go back to
And I'm
IT.
sorry, I'm jumping the gun,
Let's
but
go back to IT,
Yeah.
because we did talk about that last month, and I don't remember you saying how much, it would cost. Do you know how much it would cost for us to do
I
that?
don't know
Those places?
exactly how much, but I know Eric has worked a plan up on it because I had asked him to do that.
Okay,
So he's probably got that finished now.
all right.
And with that said, I would like to see that added in one line item when we
Right.
meet again, and you make a note to that, Mr. Hammond, and speak to that. So
I've
we
already
know
made-
that
I've already
wish
made that
list
note.
item is, there was both citizenry input and ours saying we need to be able to provide that when we have
Right.
important meetings.
All right, so
Cindy, what
now
are
the second one.
the signs that we're getting
I haven't gotten the estimate yet from
roughly
them.
estimated that we did for Wilson
Wilson
Robinson?
Robinson was under $500.
And did we get an estimate on the one for Maddox already or no?
No, not yet.
Okay.
He was working on that still.
And with that said, Madam Mayor, I understood that was kind of a direction we gave you, Mr. Hammond, just come back within, it sounded like most of those signs were gonna be under your 7,500 limit, and so you just report on it and say, parks have signs now, or whatever.
We've got a design for the Maddox Park sign.
Yeah.
As soon as I get an estimate on it, I'll put a number in here, but it may go up or down a little bit.
Right, and you can note for us, you know, that that's done this fiscal year. I understood we were gonna do that in this budget year and get it done before October or September 30th. But with the marquee sign, again, because of the expense, we were gonna have a full discussion and give you some green light to get proposals so that we could budget that accordingly for 24, 25, and then take away from where that was gonna come from. Or make a decision, and I don't want everybody to go shock and awe, but would we pull it out of reserves to ensure that that revenue source building had the appropriate marquee for future use? I'm not trying to sell it, I'm just saying, we've talked about it for 3 years, and I'm disclosing, I've had personal discussions briefly with Mrs. Lopez saying, just get me a regular sign, or not her, but get us one. I want more than that. I don't want a park sign for the Archer Community Center. We're better than that. Go to Williston and look at what they have in their chambers entrance or their building. Look at what they have for welcome to Williston.
Well,
They are
the
nice.
individual that did the one marquee up here by the water tower
Yes.
has sent me numerous emails over the last 6 months about, are we ready for another one? Because I had talked to him previously about it.
And you were kind of shocked that it went up as much as it did, but I think we need to entertain that. I'm sorry, I'm
No,
jumping
you're
in.
fine, because that's what we're talking about.
I will
That's what
contact
we're
him
doing.
tomorrow and get some prices on the current pricing listing and put that in here
And then
for
you
you.
and Cindy get with, where would I pull that from, and then be able to note that, at least in your report. I know there's a little tiny box where you couldn't put it there, but you can report on that for our citizens and report on the IT upgrade for the Archer Community Center. And just to assure our citizens that we're gonna have 2 available buildings, one larger than the chambers.
Please and thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Where is Edmunds, the
Where
Edmunds contract on here?
Where's Edmund's contract on here, Cindy?
It would be in IT as well.
That's what I thought.
Okay.
Well, it's 20,000, right? A year?
It's 20,
Yeah,
20,000 a
that's
year.
but I didn't add it in there. I didn't. It
So
should
that
be there,
means
but I
that should
didn't.
go up.
So that would be, right, yeah.
So that item's certainly gonna have to be
Well,
tweaked.
you don't really have to change it because he's going to
Yeah.
find out what it's gonna cost to do IT at the community center, and then that number's
So
gonna
that's
change
gonna be
anyway.
50,000 plus
more,
whatever the
right.
request is to upgrade the Archer Community Center, instead of 30, correct, Cindy? I mean, if you add the Edmonds into that 30, it's gonna be 50,
Edmonds would be 21, yeah.
added to this 30, plus my wish list of what I just recommended that we get the upgrade to the Archer Community Center.
I'll better go back to income.
Hello, because that's what,
you say?
that, we better go back to income, because I'm thinking, I don't want us to have to go back on, yeah.
I may be wrong, and I'm gonna have to go back and look at it, but I just cannot see 1 year's worth of IT being $30,000.
It's not. I'm including other things as well, but you have to include QuickBooks and
Everything, IT.
Okay, Madam Mayor, I recommend highly that Mr. Hammond and Cindy spend some time together and get us, I mean, since we've targeted that IT number, so
Yeah.
we know what it is, what your recommendation is. And it's-
across the board, IT is 2,000 at least a month. And that's the bottom line, the bottom number.
That's Mr. May and his services. Okay.
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 All right, Madam Mayor, if I can, since I'm not trying to jump Commissioner Green, but I only had one other thing, so I might as well just go ahead and bullnose in there.
Since you're in there,
Yes,
go
I'm in
ahead,
there.
go ahead.
The other, and again, it's on the basis of what is our wish list of input from citizens and things we've talked about throughout the year that we would want for Archer for the new year. The other thing that I am asking, and I briefly asked, and just old business, never followed through with, sorry, Mr. Hansky, but this is one of the things, so now it's budget time. We have 2 parks. We have 2 ball fields or setups. The ball field that's been discussed repeatedly to maintain it at the same standard as the Wilson Robinson, what is that gonna cost for the new budget year to ensure the Maddox Park ball field is maintained at the same standard as the Wilson Robinson? Don't need an answer tonight. Labor, materials, equipment, replacement, whatever, to ensure that that ball field is maintained for the new fiscal year
Correct.
at the same standard, and whatever appropriate fees you recommend or whatever, but main thing is the cost for that, instead of saying, we don't take care of that field. That was my other wish list, community-based concern, that I need to hear the numbers. The marquee sign and that ball field. That's all I have, Madam Mayor, tonight, other than, I'm sorry, I have one other question for Cindy. Cindy, the larger spreadsheet that Commissioner White was looking at, is that QuickBooks or is that an Edmund document?
Edmonds,
Do you trust that at all?
not really.
Mr. Hammond, have you looked at that to even see with Cindy, if it, is it valid? And again, not trying to push anybody against the wall, but the only document we have is for you to pull from QuickBooks and recreate those numbers.
The one that Jody was given for that one, that's the one I went through each line item and tried to correct.
But you just haven't audited your own work to make sure that they're correct. And you need that time to be able to present back to us an accurate document.
This one?
So that's different from our backup today?
Yes.
Yeah, that's Edmunds, and that's why I just asked that question. Is that Edmunds, and do you trust that? And,
This is the same one that she has.
It's just smaller.
but that's
That one,
Edmunds,
it makes it smaller and it's all
So
over.
it's the same info.
So they're all Edmonds.
but it's Edmunds,
All over.
not an audit from QuickBooks documents that's historical, accurate information that we've had from previous fiscal years.
Correct.
Yeah?
It is.
I mean, before you gave them that and said, here are the numbers,
That's
and,
what they took from QuickBooks.
and they did their magic revolutionary Pluto thing and came up with this.
Combined and separated accounts and.
And then when you started looking, you said, that's not accurate, that's not accurate.
This
So-
is literally what it looks like.
Yeah, that's the big 50, 4 months ago, when I said, where are we at? And you handed me 50 pages, I went, shock and awe.
That's what I did with this.
Well, that's 50-something pages there.
That's what I said, I didn't need that.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna leave this and it's wrong.
Yeah.
And that's,
And I'm not a mathematician.
Commissioner White, that's why I said, Cindy, how much more auditing time of your own work with the QuickBooks is it gonna take for us to get an audited set of numbers that we, you know, that have proper titles, like I went through belaboring everybody for 30 minutes this afternoon to clarify for myself, as well as anybody else that was confused about that. So you answered my question about that big document. It's cock and poo.
But I could provide that if that's what you want, it's a big one.
It's what?
I can provide that if that's what you want.
I don't want it.
The big one.
No, if you have no validity in it,
I mean, I have to
and
check,
trust
I have to
in
check
it,
every number on it, yes.
yeah, I want historical accuracy from what you have to recreate that takes more time with QuickBooks and get
It
it in
takes
there.
me more time to figure out where they got that number from.
And I don't want, Madam Mayor, I'm saying, I don't want any more time spent on having to justify why Edmunds has that number. We need to know the
What the numbers
comparison
are.
from QuickBooks to now and what our justification is for the new budget year.
I think we need Edmonds sitting down at this computer with those numbers, showing her how to input them or whatever's gotta be done.
Well, if this
But
meeting's
getting it
being
right.
recorded, this workshop, is it being recorded tonight? Edmunds needs to, whether they want to listen to it or not, they need to hear the recording.
I mean, I'm,
I'm pulling information out of Edmunds and QuickBooks. This is a report that comes from there, and I'm checking this. It's not me inputting things from there. It's literally information I'm taking from QuickBooks and Edmunds at this point.
What we could try to
Validating
do,
it.
what we could try to do is call Edmonds and make them get on the computer with her and make them fix it, because I have to do that sometimes.
no, what we need to do is Tony needs to schedule an appointment with them in the chambers right here with us. Now, that's what needs to
And
happen.
have staff come in here
Exactly.
and get this corrected.
Have
ASAP.
Edmonds sitting right here with us and the attorney over there.
Oh,
Now, I'm
that's a
sorry,
good idea.
until we straighten it out with Edmonds, it's not gonna get straightened out. And if they can't do it, then let us back out of the contract. Because we can't do a budget that we have to have by law
Right. At a certain time.
under the circumstances.
Madam Mayor, I'm finished with my wish list and for whatever that value is.
Okay.
Thank you.
You sure?
Yeah, I think it's fine for now.
Okay, so, Cindy, I was looking here at the Ameris loan, and of course, it's zeros on our side right now. Should we assume that the numbers, the previous numbers will be what goes there, the 11,023?
It's paid off. It won't
It's
be
paid,
zero.
okay, it's paid, okay. So it is zero. So all zeros are not, yeah, are not incorrect, okay. All right, well, that's good to know. All right. I think that was the last one I had. I'm going back through because I think most of them were hit. So hold on, let me take another look. Anybody else have another question?
I do have one, but I don't know. because I don't know if this one's different now or not, but Cindy, the last one had us with deep deficits for our totals, for the past 2 years. I'm looking at them now. Totals. The grand totals. I think I got it someplace, I think. Anyway,
On page 9.
page 9. Take a little one.
Probably not what she's looking at. It looks
I
like
don't
she's
know.
looking at something different.
There's formula errors that she corrected.
Huh?
There were formula errors in the spreadsheet that she corrected.
Okay. All right, thank you, ma'am. Because I was coming up with different numbers. And they were deficits.
There are
Heavy.
deficits the last 2 years.
I'm sorry?
There are deficits according to this spreadsheet from the last 2 years.
Okay, that's what, but mine was showing like 114,000.
38,198 for 24, according to these projections, and $120,137 for 23, according to this 23 actual numbers. And that's just in the general.
Is that actual? Where we had a $120,000 deficit?
No, I pull in for 23 or 20, oh, right now.
Either.
Right now, yes, 38,000 for now. Last year, 120, according to these numbers, but you're not audited.
Right.
And your
And
water fund is, almost 360,000 deficit for 24 projected according to this number.
correct. You're right.
We don't need no signs. We,
Not right now.
we don't need nothing.
Hey, we may not need it out
For the
there
last
now.
2 years, we added an extra $50,000 for roads and things out of reserves. We took $22,000 out for speed bumps out of reserves. We took $42,000 out for cameras, but we agreed, and that was part of the sign issue for anyone in this budget. So there have been multiple things that have come out of reserves. If we knew there was gonna be a deficit. We actually took what I don't remember the amount, excuse me, but when we replaced under the sidewalk in front of Young's, the post office, the leak, the forever leak, that came out of reserves. I mean, so we have hit reserves very hard in the last couple of years.
And I apologize if this seems like an attack. But Tony, this is on you. By charter, you were supposed to keep us updated and let us know when we are in trouble, when we are gonna make an amendment, when we need to sit down and look at this. That's on you.
We get tight this time every year, and we have been tight this time every year since I have been here.
Not like we are now.
Yes, ma'am.
No.
Okay.
When I look at a bank account that shows me $26,000, we've never been that low.
I wouldn't, yes, we have.
We don't have to show me when.
Would you like me to stop doing this and do that? Because I don't have a problem. Because the last time you came to me, we had a low bank account and it was waiting. We were just waiting on grants and things to come back in. Sometimes it does go
That's
down,
true, I
yes.
do remember
We
that.
don't run a huge bank account. We never have, not since I've been here, ever.
I've never seen it at 26,000 in the general fund.
I don't remember exactly what it was, but I do remember us talking about it and the fact that it was low, and I remember her response that we were waiting on the grants. And I can't remember how long it took for those grants to come in, but
We also ate a $178,000 playground because we didn't get the money back for it because I don't know, it was in the middle of the COVID, what happened, but the loan, the grant didn't go through before they started the actual work on it. And Felicity and I talked about it, we did get some of it back, but it wasn't the amount that we were supposed to get back because of the grant. We missed that whole FDEP grant for that. So we ate a lot there. And this is why I asked Felicity multiple times, has the grant started yet? Have we gotten final, I learned my lesson. You have to know that I wanted the final paperwork before we start projects.
From now on, please, when we don't get a grant and we have started something, let us know that we're gonna lose $180,000, is that what you said?
It was already built before I even knew about it.
I'm just saying, $180,000?
It was $180,000.
Should have come to us and let us know that we had just lost $180,000. And we could have amended the budget maybe and done something.
Right.
But we didn't know it.
I didn't know it until 2 years later. That's when COVID hit. When we finally started doing the grant and finishing up the Wilson Robinson Park. I had no idea. You know how they put the playground in first and then it took forever because everything shut down for the splash pad? But we never got the money back for the first playground. We got part of it back, but not the amount we were supposed to get.
Okay, because I thought they made, oh my God. I can't even get my words, I'm sorry, I'm deprived, rest deprived, but, I can't remember exactly what it was, but because of COVID, I thought they extended and like gave compassion. Yeah.
They did.
Yeah.
For the end date, but not the beginning.
For our playground equipment?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
Me either.
And it hit us hard. We also, believe it was last year, it was part of last year's budget. About Christmas time, I was waiting for it to come back for the new playground. And then the final on that, all that stuff. And I was expecting $140,000 returned because we were supposed to be getting it from the county and FDEP, and I ended up only getting $70,000. I only got half of that because one had run out and the other had not. And I asked multiple times about that one. So yes, there is a problem. But
When there's a problem, this commission needs to know it.
I
So
agree.
we can make some changes. I mean, I wouldn't agree to a big Christmas thing or a big I dang sure wouldn't have agreed to the 4th of July. If I had known that we had that. I mean, there's a lot of things that we could have made changes to that we didn't, and because we didn't know.
I advised against spending so much money on cameras. I advised against spending all that money on.
Well, we probably wouldn't. have, no?
My advisements go unheard, majority of the time. You don't trust me? I get that. You said that up here. It's on record. I don't. But I have multiple times said, if we can't get a grant for it, we don't need to buy it right now. This is a little city that depends on people who are not rich to pay their bills and pay their taxes, and that's all we have for income. We don't have sewer, so it's not that either. So I don't want to give you a budget that is exasperated and is huge in expectation of money that's not going to come in. I'm giving you what actually has come in because this is Archer. We're not Gainesville. We're not Alachua. We're not High Springs. We do not have the base for one neighbor can pay their taxes, well, the other one lost his job, but the other one it covers. We don't have $340,000 homes here in Archer, that many of them. We don't have developments that are full of people.
That's true.
I understand. I truly understand that. However, we do have 5 people sitting up here that if you would come to us and tell us, then we could make a decision. And then the trust might be there, Cindy.
Oh,
because
I
you hand
understand,
me
but I know
this-
that I have spoken to the commission.
You hand me this and say, this is for the budget workshop, when this is nothing, nothing. And I can't make heads or tails of it. I got this one Thursday, I got one today, and now I'm looking at another one, and we're gonna have to give you more time. Well, I'm sorry, but that doesn't instill trust in me,
I'm working with what I can work with.
and I understand
And I
that.
came before the commission and told you all that it was not working. I said it wasn't working before Christmas. I said we had a problem.
And that's when we all said, we need to get with Edmonds. And then
Right.
I was told that they were working with y'all. They were working with y'all,
And they are.
okay?
They're just not doing much.
Well,
It's the bare minimum, and that's
that's not
exactly
working
it.
with you.
You're right.
If you can't do a
I
budget, that's
agree.
not working with you.
I absolutely agree, Ms. Joni.
And I'm not going at you on bringing it to us. That's on him. That's on you. That should have come to us. And it's the city manager's duty to bring it to us. He should have been on top of it enough to bring it to us, not you.
Thank y'all. All right, commissioners. We have any more discussion?
I'm finished this evening, just other than hearing the input from the citizens.
Okay. Done?
Yes.
Done?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, I was talking to Vice Mayor here. Finish?
Yes.
All right. Then we're gonna move on to public comments.
I'm actually, if it's okay, I'm gonna hand out some documents that I put together, and I only have like one extra that you guys can pass around with the audience.
You can
So-
get mine, just send them out there and I'll share it.
Okay. So the single document here, this is the water fund, and I provided, my projection is the first column, what the city manager's projection for 25 is, based on those spreadsheets that you already have. I'm not making up those numbers, those are coming right from your spreadsheets. The 24 adopted budget according to that spreadsheet, the 24 actuals according to that spreadsheet, and so forth. And then the very last column, I added your last audited financials, which was FY '22's financials. And I broke it up in those exact same categories as you see on the spreadsheet that you were provided by staff.
Fiscal year 22, 23.
Yeah, my recommendation that when you talk about the fiscal year, just say the fiscal year we're in, because that gets so confusing. So we're in fiscal year '24. I hate saying them both, because that's what I think confuses everybody. So this was for fiscal year '22, audited financials is what I added there. And you'll see that there's not an item for every single line item in that, because your audit doesn't break it down per line in your audits, you kind of roll things up, and therefore I didn't have that backup. But those numbers in that column match exactly to your '22 audited financials. So this is the water fund, that was single sheet. The one that's stapled is your general fund. It's the same concept, exactly the same numbers as you see from your city manager, except I added the first column with a different projection, and I've added the 22 audited financials. The one thing that's missing from here are those last minute changes that were made to the budget today. So there was $8,000 added to the senior center. Okay, so that's what this one is. That's those. And then I'll explain this document in 1 minute when I get to that in my presentation. So here's some files if you guys want to look at them.
Here's, we're sharing, so here's.
Okay, thanks.
That's an extra too.
Okay.
should be.
So Karen Fiore for the record. So when I first looked at all the documents, immediately, the first thing I went to was the bottom line, and that's been addressed today, that those formula errors have been corrected. But I cannot stress enough how, again, that type of document and those type of numbers were put into a public record without city manager approving that. That's sloppy. You showed a deficit of $692,000 on that document that was published last week. Again, the formulas have been corrected. So the document you got from staff doesn't break it down per fund. So if you look at the document I provided you, you'll see that I have a total. You have revenues total, then expenditures total, and then the bottom line takes your net, your revenues minus your expenditures, and I broke it down per fund. So according to your city manager's proposed budget, the general fund actually had a net of $27,000 for fiscal year 25, and the water fund had a deficit that he provided you as a proposed budget in the amount of almost $81,000. Cindy mentioned that the FY24 projected is for the full year. She mentioned that she's gone through and projected out all of those. It's not correct. So I went through to the state, downloaded every single deposit that you've had this year, this fiscal year 24, so that's October through today, and you're missing revenues in your general fund for sure. So you don't have all of your August through September for revenue sharing, the CST, your local option gas tax, your discretionary. Your discretionary is the only one that's through July, but all your other numbers here, and I've highlighted them, those are not projected out to the full year. The column that I gave you, I projected those out knowing that you are going to receive additional deposits there. When looking, let me see. I heard that, I'm just going through my questions to try to be fast. It sounds like you don't budget for any grants. I wasn't sure if there was any grants that we were expecting this year, CDBG or a water grant. But I think you addressed that you don't budget that because of prior issues. So I'm going to start with this budget document that's stapled, so your general fund, starting with your revenues. Your ad valorem tax. For 2024, which we were told today is, we're assuming that's what your budget for 2024 is, has $270,000 listed there for your 24 budget. That's the fiscal year we're in right now. Your trim notice that you published has $281,256 as your budget. Why do these not match? They need to match. Then your trim budget summary has $296,000, and then your ad reflects 95% of that. This is correct, but your staff is providing you with a budget on these documents that don't match what you're telling the state and the citizens that your budget is. That's not okay. I asked last time for the 7/1 estimates from the property appraiser, and the comment was made that they don't come out until the end of August. That's not true. It's required by law that you receive those by July 1st. It was dated by May 30th. You did receive it. It came in at $55 million. I got a copy of it today. So if you do the math, like I mentioned earlier in the meeting, that brings you up to $303,611. I was really surprised to see that the assessed values only came in at $55 million because this is actually less than last year, which doesn't make much sense, but this is not a true number. This is just a preliminary number. There's not much thought put through that from the property appraiser, and the fact that property values in Alachua County have risen like 10.67% over the last year, so you're going to see probably a hike of about 7.5%. But for this so-called budget workshop, you want to still put in that correct calculation. These shouldn't be plugs. I mentioned that last time. So you'll see in my column, I'm adding that complete amount of that 303. I'm not even doing 95% because I really do feel like you're going to get a higher number once you get your numbers in August. So the revenue sharing, the discretionary sales tax, the communication service tax, the half-cent sales tax, your local option, these are all put out by the Department of Revenue. You literally don't even have to make up these numbers. You don't have to have any science. You don't even have to go look through your actuals from prior years. You just go to their website and you print them, and it actually says it all the way down to Archer. And it tells you the 25 budget should be. Now, you don't have to be that aggressive in budget exactly what that is, but you have a really good starting point. This isn't rocket science, so I recommend using these. I've used these in my projections that you see here. Moving on to the expenditures. So I'll just highlight that. The budget that was provided to you by staff was $681,000 in taxes. I'm lower at $674,000 in taxes. Again, there's fluff numbers in there. On the city manager's one, for total permits, fees, and licenses, they have $117,000. I'm only showing $98,000. Big one there is your franchise fees. You see that they budgeted $90,000 on collection of $64,000. I can't rely necessarily on this 24 actual column because, as I mentioned before, I already found that there's months missing. But based on that, I don't think you should be going up to $90,000. And then your total state shared, they budgeted at 187.5, and I'm at 185 something. I crossed it off. I can't see it. Charges for services. I don't think the cemetery fees should be at $20,000. I was more conservative at $15,000. Judgments here, it looks like, 22 audit didn't have anything, 23 didn't have anything, 24 didn't have anything. I don't see how you can be budgeting $5,000 for code ordinance stuff there, so I reduced that. As mentioned, the senior center, there was nothing budgeted for rental, and I don't think you're going to rent the senior center this year, so that's zero. And so total revenues in the general fund, they had $1,061,000, and I'm showing about $983,000 at this time. But again, we still have to wait for that last ad valorem revenue. And I'm not saying mine's perfect because I don't have the history enough for the city. Moving on to the expenditure side, why are we plugging just a number for salaries? You can't do that. This, again, should be almost a perfect line item. You have 15 employees. You know exactly how much they're making. You do the math. I got a list of the employee salaries. I did the math. I may not have broken them down exactly as your staff had mentioned today. I tried to get as close as I could compared to other actuals. And what was split half and half through the water fund. So 15 employees split with the water fund is $540,000. And you're budgeting $585,000 according to the city manager, with a projection in actuals of $559,000. So why are the actuals and the proposed so much higher than your true salary dollars that you're going to be paying out to your employees? I assume this is probably about overtime. It makes sense, right? But you should not have that lumped into your salary line. Break it out. Show it as overtime so that your city manager can monitor that, so that he can report to you and say that my staff is this much in overtime total, and that you can put a stop to it. Or you can say, we historically spend $50,000 on overtime, so let's budget it and stop guessing it so that we're not in a deficit at the end of the year. We plan for that. And that should be a commission-driven thing. It shouldn't just be hidden in these salaries. Your salaries are salaries blank. So again, I said my budgeted salaries in all the categories may be off compared to what you truly do budget people, like in the right seats. But I use the total salary dollars that you are supposed to be paying total 1 year for your employees. I have a question. This FMIT, this is for insurance, and when I looked it up online, it shows that it covers workers' comp. Is that correct? Can anyone?
Yes.
Okay. So then why are we budgeting a separate workers' comp line?
Because it's the way they wanted it split up before. Arch. Yeah, you can see how it's broken.
Okay, so the FMIT lines that are in here, there's a few of them. That total should equal 27.
I just got that today.
Okay, so it equals more than this, plus you're also budgeting in the city manager's column for workers' comp, so you're double counting there. So you'll see in my column, I actually have that highlighted, and there's nothing in there because I didn't think it was double counting there and it wasn't necessary. But I did keep the FMIT, and I did see that increased, but it seems like based on this document provided, you probably have even more to reduce there from my column. I think I have, based on what they had already submitted, it might be too high, so you're gonna wanna have to add that up. So that's good, that's a spot that you're gonna be saving some money. The city manager salary in '23, what was that huge spike? And plus, I thought his position was supposed to be split between the water fund and the general fund, and that's not showing up in your actuals. So if that's,
Yes, it did. It did, but keep going.
excuse me?
41000
It did.
Okay, so if I go to city, hold on.
It was 52 something, I
Right
can't
here.
remember what
So,
it was.
city executive, city manager. So for 23 actuals, according to this document, he had 77,329 in the general fund. And then if you go to the water fund, 23 actual for the executive was 35,125. They're not matching, is my point, if they're gonna be truly split. And if they're truly split, that should be something in your software that automatically does that. That should not be a manual entry every month or every week that you pay them. It should just automatically be a split so that you're not going through and having to make all these adjustments.
And forward.
The legal contract, I don't know if this is a plug or if this is based on a true contract number, so I would recommend that staff actually put in what the contract is. I don't know, I upped it a little bit, I think, or maybe I decreased it based on actuals. I put it at 45, almost 46, but that may not be the right number because I don't have a contract in front of me.
That right there.
Okay. My other question was the senior center, but it looks like you put in $8,000 in there. The comp plan, it was talked about earlier. Is this 19,000 that you have budgeted for 25 from any type of quote anywhere? I mean, did we do any research saying this is how much comp plans are gonna cost us? I think it's just a plug. I'm plugging in more like a 10,000 based on actuals from prior years. I don't think you need the 19, but again, if you did your research and found out that there is,
Bless you.
that's about a cost, then so be it. I'm just going through what I found. Some other things on the general fund, I thought 30,000 for IT was too low also. I bumped it up to $50,000. Thought it was odd that financial administration service have 0 office equipment, but it sounds like you do a lot in that one $16,000 admin line item. The FDOT signal maintenance, as Commissioner White mentioned, I only have that at 2,000, but it sounds like that needs to be bumped up to 6,500, so I would make note of that because your column also does not have that, correct?
It's actually two things. So, this is one of the things they went back and forth. There's two. There's the signal maintenance for the light, and then there's the crosswalks for the school. One's paid from DOT, one's coming, we pay another. They combined them, and that's how this has gotten so strangely messed up. They put it all on one line. It used to be two. And then one is like 6,500 and one's 2,000.
Yeah, and as Commissioner Hope mentioned, having that in a column with explanation will save you from explaining that a million times next year. I mean, I recommend the notes as much as possible. Small budget, that garden club, 0 those out. The dog park, 0 that out. And you'll see that I reduced some items in like the recreation. I don't think uniforms and stuff like that this seems like really fluff numbers, but again, I don't have enough history, but I provided you what I thought the general fund would look like. And after you add in that $8,000 for the senior center, you're actually you're still at a surplus here, a net income of like $2,000 on the general fund. And on the last page of that general fund breakdown, you can see when I mentioned the deficit for 23 and 24, those are in orange, and the 38,000 for 23 and the 124, 38,000, 120 for 23. But I recommend taking this and look at your audited financial, because you do have it all in one sheet now, and compare each of the categories. So, and I mean, you had 557,000 in 22 audited financials, going up to 681,000 in governmental taxes. Does that seem like does that pass a sniff test with you? You know, look at those, comparing those two numbers. I would recommend to you. Looking at the water fund. I know we talked about it, but how can there not be any actuals for those 4 months, and plus having, I mean, literally we're down to 40 days. This cannot have just been something that we discovered. We're down to less than 40 days of this fiscal year. This is supposed to be a budget workshop, which I've never seen a budget workshop like this in my life, that you're not presented with what's in it. This seems way down the road, and shame on everyone for, if we've known this, that we're letting it get this far, and to have an excuse that every time we get into this time of the year, it's a crunch. You have a whole year knowing that you're getting to this point. Make an effort. Okay. So the water sales in 21 and 22 were 251,000 and 297,000 respectively. So how are we projecting less in fiscal year 25? I don't understand. The projection in 24, again, is way low. It's $116,000 on a budget of 290. And then we budget, the recommendation is to budget 290, which is less than your 22 audited financials. That can't be right. If there was someone else looking at these numbers or even read it, this should be stuff that's popping out easily. So that's literally so there was a 19% increase in 21 to 22. Again, like I said, you're decreasing it for 25, which makes no sense to me. The solid waste revenues for 21 and 22 were 133,000 and 131,000 respectively. Showing this revenue stream is flat, right? I mean, those are almost the exact same numbers for 2 years in a row. It's about 1.4% decrease. Yet, the city manager's budget is projecting an increase of 14%. The math is not making sense there. No explanation. It doesn't make any sense. Has something changed? Was an increase in rates, perhaps? I mean, maybe I just don't know that. Did you increase rates significantly to adjust for that? And then if you did, that also means that your contract on your expense side probably should have went up more than it did. The sewer expenses totaled $33,000 in 22, and yet there's nothing projected in 25. I find it hard that there's no expenditures going to happen with the sewer expenses. The solid waste contract increased 2% in fiscal year 21 to 22, yet they're projecting it lower than the 22 actuals. We just talked about it. We're saying that revenues are going to come in like great, 14% more, but we're going to decrease our contract. Doesn't make sense. Again, I put in an escalator of 2% starting from the audited FY22 financials. I went through your 21 audit, your 22 audit, and the proprietary funds had losses for both of those years. And I'm seeing that you're projecting a loss in fiscal year 24, again, $300 and something thousand. I don't know what your fund balance is. I mean, I could do the calculation starting from 22 fund balance, but I can't rely on any of these numbers that happened in 23 or 24 to get you even close. I heard you use a bunch of fund balance from the audited financials. You didn't have too much in there, so I would be very careful, and I would demand knowing what those fund balances are. So I couldn't get your water fund to a balanced budget. I cut a lot, probably too much, it's probably not gonna be sustainable. I still show you at a deficit of almost $12,000. So where are you gonna get that from? Perhaps you're gonna move the employees and that might get you there, to the general fund. But there's only a $2,000 surplus in the general fund, so you don't have much wiggle room at all. So there's gonna have to either be more cuts, you're gonna have to raise rates somewhere, would be another suggestion. I thought we were doing construction on the collection system. I don't see a budget here for any of that. I do see that your salaries are way over budget. Again, we talked about that overtime. You should separate those out. When I was looking through all of your, all of your deposits that were made from the state, I did discover a deposit of an amount of $205,000, did I already say this? $205,281. And Cindy mentioned this was for,
Half repayment for the 407-something thousand we paid Kimley Horn for wastewater.
but I thought it was odd that I didn't see it on your revenues in your actuals, and then I was told that this is a separate fund. So I hope as a commission that you're requesting that information from that fund, a bank statement, anything, because you don't have it in front of you today. You should have a budget for every single fund that you have, and I was under the assumption you had two funds, a water fund and a general fund, and I thought I heard that a couple times in the commission meetings prior. And I think that's it on mine. Let me, one more. Yeah. Oh, no. So FRS, I think this is my last thing. Okay, so there's different rates depending on what type of employee you are. And so I'm assuming in my column that the commission, they're at what they consider the county, city, special district elected officials, EOC, and that rate is 58.68%. That's what I have in that budgeted 25 column for the commission.
I didn't have that mine, I didn't have that.
Then for your senior management service class, that's 34.52. And that makes sense because you see his retirement number really high. And that's what I have it in. That's, again, I printed down what the new rates are going to be. And then for the remainder of your employees, I'm assuming that it's considered a regular class, which is 13.63%. So someone's going to have to verify that if that's correct. I don't know if that's correct. Perhaps some of your employees are at a different risk level. But again, this is not something you have to make up. You just literally go and find it and then plug it into those employees. And it should be like your employee salary, all their benefits on a spreadsheet that you're just tweaking every year. It shouldn't be hard changing this percentage. It should take you minutes to do that. All right, I think I talked enough. Thanks.
Thank you.
Additional public comments?
Think about Bill Lewandowski. I think about 2 years ago, I provided you a template, right word for it, a dashboard, a template for a dashboard that you could look at every meeting. So your accountant would do that for your bookkeeper. Don't have an accountant. The bookkeeper would do that for you. And the idea behind a dashboard, it gives you that financial snapshot every month, so you know where you're at in the budget process. So it doesn't have to be anything elaborate. I provided you an example, but anything works. This is where we're at. This is how much we have money, how much money we have left, and you probably want to break it up by category. That way you don't get caught by surprise. So I highly recommend that you guys come up with something. If you need some help, give me a call. Next question is, how much will the CUP expert cost, and how is that approved?
Tony? I don't know.
I believe it was $1,600. The attorney did a contract with them.
Okay.
Get a copy of that contract?
I can.
Okay, so is that the new standard now, that you're going to go for outside experts on these things?
This was done at the recommendation of the attorney for this particular issue.
Okay, and the last question I had, it's not, can I ask a non-budget related question, or no?
Say that again, can you?
I'm sorry, I'm speaking too fast, I apologize, may I ask a non-budget related question, or is the public comment only for
It's only for this,
budget?
yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay.
Thank you. Any other comments?
My name is Sarah Brannon,
Yes, ma'am.
and my question is, how can you all hire somebody and they don't have to pay taxes and we have to pay taxes?
Well, look, I don't hire anybody, but it sounds to me like it's an immigrant, and if she's an immigrant with a green card, they have to do whatever the laws are for that. So
So they don't have to pay taxes?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Oh, somebody gonna tell me something, because they've been taking my money for years.
Well, you're not an immigrant, though. You. No, they get good services.
Okay, on the office admin, I heard all the things that was part of. Does that include any office equipment or anything like that?
Small things, yes, anything over 1,500, no.
Okay, thank you. That's the main question I had of that. And for the cleaning, you said it was 3 buildings, 10 hours a weekend. Her car usually comes in the morning and stays all afternoon at this location. I see it, I'm across the street on the weekends. So how does it happen that, to get the other buildings? Because it's more than 10 hours that's here. Now, this person has total access to this building then, right?
Tony.
Mostly? What's mostly?
Not, doesn't have access to the records and safe room.
Okay, so that's an area that's separate.
If we have a computer.
No, our computers are supposed to be locked.
Okay, so I was just trying to get the association of the time and monies and places and everything else. The rest of the information about being migrant, I don't care about that. The point is, it's just that we have a building here, and supposedly we're breaking that down into 3 buildings, but it seems like that person's only at 1 building, because she only comes by car, and that parks out front. So how does it get to the other buildings, and when does that happen? And how does she get into a locked community center? She's got a key to all these places?
She has a code to the community center.
Oh, okay.
And she has access to the senior center, and she doesn't do both of those at the same time she does this building.
Okay, but I'm saying it's more than 10 hours that she sits at this building.
Yeah, and if she spends 10 hours here, she's still doing her 3 hours at the other places too. So she's still only getting paid for 10 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's good explanation. Thank you.
Thank you.
She fills out a time sheet each week.
She does, just like everybody else does.
Good evening, Roberta Lopez. I just have a couple of questions. I see throughout the budget where we have expenses other. Did you see that, Karen? That's under just about every department. It says expenses other, and it's usually, range from 500 to 1,000 or something like that. When you add up all of those, that amounts to a lot of money. Plus, I'm thinking that perhaps instead of having expenses other, put it all under one account. Would that work? And then use it like a miscellaneous type budget?
Best practice is not to have miscellaneous anything.
Okay.
You always want to have everything labeled exactly to the right type.
Okay, so how do you feel about miscellaneous others? This question is for Karen.
No.
I say.
I would never never do miscellaneous
What
anything.
is,
In other words, you just answered it. You said, that's like no.
That's right.
Well, and one reason I'm asking about that is because we have no idea exactly how this money is dispensed. I'm not even sure how the records are kept, but it amounts up to quite a bit of money. The other question that I had, I'm looking at last year's budget that we received, and I remember coming in here in front of you guys talking about $5,000 you're putting in the budget for the community center maintenance. But we spent I believe we spent around $19,900 and some dollars, am I right? That's a lot of money. And so, why would we budget something when we knew we had not done anything at all for that community center over the years since it was open? Why would we budget $5,000 and then we end up spending 19? So we didn't figure in enough money for that, because it was almost $20,000, I guess. So that really need to be looked at as well. I was looking back at the sign things, and I saw you say you put those on hold. Is that a vote?
we didn't vote on anything.
I beg your pardon?
No, we didn't vote on anything.
Oh, that's right. Okay, it's a workshop. Okay, but you know what? I think that needs to go before that, because for years and years and years, I've been trying to get the community center sign. I'm very, very disappointed, because we can go out and buy a grater for $45,000. It doesn't work, and among other things. So this is not looking good in my eyesight. I appreciate what you're doing, Commissioner Hope. I really do. You say you're doing it for me, and I appreciate that you want the marquee thing. But like I said, I'm satisfied with anything. It's no name on it since 2011, folks. We opened that building in 2011, August the 2nd. In all these years, and then I looked back at the list. The other thing I wanted to ask Mr. Hammond too is that he had a couple of things to do, and I think I heard it for the last 4 or 5 months, that he had to do the door over at the community center, and he also had to do the floor. Well, those two things was required and requested by the United States Department of Agriculture. So what I'm going to be requesting tonight, I want to know exactly, did they give you extensions on it? Because that's been quite a long time. I want to see all of the correspondence between USDA and our office, because it says that they're on hold or something like that.
You have gotten all the correspondence between me and USDA on that building, and there is no exact date yet, because the door has been reordered again, and it was delivered or supposed to be delivered
Okay.
tomorrow.
Well, I'm requesting it again, even if I have to pay for those letters.
I will forward them to
I
you
want
again.
the letters that was written to you, and when, where, and how, and the ones that came back in here and charged me.
I will forward them to you again tomorrow.
That'll be great. But anyway, I just don't see how we, and I'm gonna sit down after this, people. I just don't see how we got to this point. I'm very, very disappointed. As a matter of fact, I'm to the point of being depressed. My husband told me, he said, "What's wrong with you?" And I said, "I'm depressed." Because to see that we were on the right track and going pretty good, and now it's like everything, I feel myself, knowing how much work I put in this town, I feel like everything I work for is down the drain at this point. I just can't even imagine or see how we got to this point. And I'm hoping that the commissioners will listen to us sometimes, and especially people who, I know, I don't mean to bring up Laura Costello, but I have to. Because Laura knew a lot about the budget, and she still does. She's been working with Karen and others, and me, and I've been working, all of us working. And you know, it was as if when she would talk about overtime, all of these different things, nobody listened. Nobody listened, and we were just killing it. So I'm just asking you to please, please stay on top of this. And I also asked Mr. Hammond, and I'm very disappointed because I think I asked Mr. Hammond and Deanna and everybody, I was telling them, Laura and I was saying we needed to get someone to replace Cindy when she was out sick. We should have never let anybody stay out of this office 4 months, or whatever it was, I don't remember, she can tell you, and not have a backup. Yes, Miss Penny, that's exactly what I said. You're shaking your head, but that's what I said. Nobody, you should not have allowed that. Somebody should have been sitting right back there, even if they didn't know anything, they could have picked up on something.
Okay.
So, you know, just don't let that kind of stuff happen again. And pay a little bit more attention and learn how to read the budget.
Additional comments? Oh, I'm sorry.
Hi, Charles Tufano, resident. I guess I just have one question. When can we expect this to be fixed? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when, if I'm not mistaken, it was, I think it was mentioned tonight, that was just prior to Christmas
We're
last year?
supposed to have the information to move forward with the budget by the next budget meeting, which is the 16th of September. So we should have it before that. So I don't think we.
Conversion of the accounting
I'm
system?
talking
you're
about
talking
being
about-
able to produce the budget like Karen
Oh, okay,
has
I'm sorry.
presented to us, so all of us, including the commissioners, can see where we stand. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it was late last year when we identified this problem with the software. So now it's August of the following year, and we're still talking about getting Danielle together with this company and Tony to sue. We were talking about doing this in April. When are we going to get it done? Guys,
According to Danielle, we can't sue because they did, according to her, and I'm paraphrasing and y'all help me, they did not breach the contract.
even though we can't produce reports?
According to them, they did not breach the contract. And-
According to them, excuse me for interrupting.
And-
But, but our own city
and
attorney is
Our
saying.
attorney says they did
There's-
not breach the contract.
Okay, so I think the question still begs to be asked. When can we get to the point?
I think that's why I said we need to have
Right.
Edmonds here,
Okay,
we need the city manager here, we need the accountant here, and the building clerk, and the five of us.
got it.
Well, I think the answer really was that we were deciding whether we were going to stay with them or go back to QuickBooks. I've been transferring everything back to QuickBooks because I've been awaiting an answer from
Okay.
the committee. So if we can make a decision, then I'm spending all the time so I can do my audit in QuickBooks. At this point, QuickBooks is gonna be more accurate than Edmunds by any means. And if utility billing, which was going pretty good there for a while, is incorrect, inaccurate, as well as finance, then we need to think about going back to another program that doesn't cost as much as Edmunds does.
And I'm good with you going back to QuickBooks and whatever, but we still need Edmonds here. We need to talk to her. We've got a contract.
Paying $20,000 for the next 2 years, we've already paid for everything.
We're paying them $20,000 for the next 3 years.
That includes, so there's only 2 left after this year, I think.
I understood 3 more years.
It's-
That's what I understood 3 y'all
and the
said.
next 2.
Madam Mayor, our current accounting auditor that's in the midst of the audit, I'm just disclosing, when I reached out to him originally, he said most municipalities our size do not go. I don't know, Commissioner White, if he shared that with you, but he said he didn't want to speak out of turn until he got into the financial statement audit and the things we were finding difficult. But he said your remedy to this could be going back to QuickBooks.
And I'm good with that.
And that's
but we
why, yeah, I keep saying, I want his recommendation as well. Not waiting for that, not kicking the can down the road, but to assure that we have a legitimate argument with Edmonds that they have failed in their contraction, whether it's in the contract, it's too general or not. If we, as Mr. Stefano just said, cannot produce a profit loss statement in comparison in a budget process using that system, it's failed us, period. And I would like that in writing from our current contractor accountant that's right here in the middle of the audit. Because if he's having to rely on Cindy producing QuickBooks information for him to audit from, what more do you need? So
He spent a day
that's
trying
your
to
answer.
run reports at Edmonds, thinking that maybe possibly we're just trying to do it wrong. And he's like, I can't get any information out of it either. I mean, we've got some things, but not of everything.
It's not justifying Mr. Stefano where we're at, but it's the remedy to the solution is to go back to QuickBooks.
And
And
I
then
do
find a
agree.
program that will provide the utility billing, preparing us for the wastewater and the water. Because that, again, I may be speaking out of turn, but that was the initiative behind looking for a complete accounting system upgrade, because we knew we were going into the wastewater and the
Right.
water. And that utility
it.
billing definitely needed help when we still were using QuickBooks, so.
But we also still need to talk to Edmonds, because we've
Yeah,
got a
I'm not-
contract.
I'm not refuting that at all, I'm just saying,
And I'm, really don't like paying people that don't do anything.
Danielle and I will get hold of him tomorrow and I'll call you.
Okay. He won't like me.
That's a good thing.
I don't know.
All right, do we have any more public comments?
Hello.
Hello.
Good evening. I was just wondering if the city has attempted to resolve this with Edmonds, because it seems like, we just keep talking about it. Has anything happened behind the scenes? I mean, contracts,
Something did happen behind the scenes, which was, well, first we had sent the letter to them, and then our attorney talked to them. And that is why she said they did not breach their contract. She went back and looked at it. They also started helping the girls, the ladies, to get their information, know how to get it. So apparently, they are still not where they need to be or comfortable doing all of it themselves.
They came out one time.
Okay, was it?
And stayed 4 hours, I think they said. And that's been, the only time they've been here is my understanding.
and have we gone through the chain of command all the way to, whoever the top person is? Because, contracts happen every day, and contracts are renegotiated. They are, because these vendors want to have good reviews. If they get bad reviews, things get around, and that affects their business. So I remember, not Danielle, but Kirsten. She had said that, you can't get out of the contract, and that may be okay, that may be right, but it's not impossible to renegotiate with them and let them know what's happening and have them hold their end of the bargain. It's not possible for us to be out $60,000 or $80,000 or whatever it is. You may still be able to reach some kind of agreement with them so that you're not out all that cash and then you're going back to where you were before. It's just, and I think for the whole budget discussion that we're having, sometimes we're focusing on the small items, but there's some big expenses, some like major, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. I think we need to look at the big ticket items, honestly, because the little, and they do add up, but let's just, it's just like your own personal finances. your big ticket items, your rent or mortgage, utilities, taxes. If you want to save money, car insurance. If you want to save money, you can save your latte pocket money, but that's not really going to add up. I mean, if you start saving on the insurance, if you lower your rent, I mean, that's going to add up a lot faster than, just counting the little amounts here and there. So, I do, I've been here through several meetings already, and I do tend to hear at almost every meeting that there's something that we don't know or, just didn't know that was happening. And I get the sunshine laws and everything, but there's got to be a way, and I like the idea of a dashboard, because there's got to be a way to come together and kind of get the status of, the city, the status of affairs, what's going on to this point. Did something happen, between the meetings that you've had, that you're not up to date on? And it just seems like there's got to be a way to have those communications pretty much consistently throughout every meeting, so that you're all up to date on what's happening and what's going on. So I don't know, it's just something worth considering with the dashboard. There are other ways of doing it. I mean, it's not impossible. People do this every day out there, and they do it well. So it is done, and it is possible to do it well. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, thank you.
Can I add
So-
that the dashboard is part of the selling point Edmonds had? It still doesn't work, but that was one of the reasons it was chosen, was their dashboard, and it was supposed to be exactly what everybody was looking for.
Right.
I don't even have access to it yet, so.
Yeah.
Can we do our profit and loss on the?
I don't know,
on
but-
QuickBooks?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it accurate? Completely no, because I don't know the income for all those months for water funds. So part of the income.
But you can start now.
Yes.
Okay, then that's what I'm asking.
That's what I'm trying to bring up to date for the audit. That's why it's been so time consuming.
Okay,
I'm transferring everything.
if we could get a profit and loss, that would give us an indication anyway. Okay.
Madam Mayor, the discussion going up here, ma'am, your name again, I'm sorry, you're coming to meetings, and I try to remember names, I'm old, I'm sorry. What is your name again?
Lisette.
Lisette?
Lisette.
Lisette, okay, I wrote Lisette, but okay, thank you.
My bad. All right, so if that be all, meeting adjourned.